You don't terminate my interviews.
You know, and you accuse me of being insensitive.
His daughter's lying on the snap, and they think she did it to spite them.
But you weren't questioning them, you were picking a fight. What's going on, Alex?
Talk to the neighbours, check for reports of domestics. I want to know what they've been doing the past 3 days, both of them. Tony, I need your input.
Yeah, but you don't want it.
Tony! Please.
Send me the files. Design knife blades crude, possibly homemade. Red paint under fingernails. The tattoo. What is that? That's a telly. Hymen intact. You were a virgin. You weren't screwing around, despite what your stepmother said. In the name of Jesus. Do I have to mock him or to honor him? A death from blood loss. No sign of ligatures or restraints. So you volunteered for this. You submitted to this. I mean, you were angry, but you weren't suicidal.
Ben, I told you to clear up those toys before I break my neck. Karen, hi, it's Alex Fielding from number 31. Yeah, listen, I know it's short notice, but I was wondering if you could do me a favour and babysit Ben. Tonight. Uh-huh.
Sorry, your phone's been,
Oh, no worries. Thanks,
Alex, there's something ritualistic about it.
Babysitter's going AWOL. I've got an ACC meeting in 15 minutes.
What happened to the nanny?
Are you busy tonight?
Me?
What? So, you ladies still here? Where are we supposed to go?
What happened to Danny? I thought he did all the talking.
He disappeared.
So much for leadership, huh? Okay, you don't have to go. I mean, you can't stay here. It's just not safe. I mean, have you seen this? This big damp patch? Have a closer look. If I was you, I'd leave where I can still walk.
You need to take a bowl!
You know, you can buy this stuff in bags.
Yeah, but that's most fun.
You got this? You got? Oh, my turn. Got it. So, what happened to the nanny?
It was my fault. I called her Mummy. By accident. Mum and her had a row and she left.
Well, that doesn't sound like your fault.
Do you have any kids?
No, you need a girlfriend for that. And I tend to freak them out.
Mum's always home late. She's always angry and she's always tired. Have you ever tried maple syrup on this?
Maple syrup?
Hey guys, so in this video we're going to look at Section 8 TV drama, and the topic we're going to look at is gender. The clip that we're going to use is Wire in the Blood, and just to set the scene, the two characters that we're going to be looking at predominantly are their partners. They are detectives. Now, the main thing before you start watching a clip or trying to understand it is to kind of work out how you're going to be taking your notes. So I'm going to do this with you guys as I play the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the clip once, and then I'm going to try and make notes of all the different moments or different scenes within the actual clip itself. So it's kind of making sure that you write your essay chronologically. So yeah, so here goes.
You don't terminate my interviews.
You know, and you accuse me of being insensitive.
His daughter's lying on the snap, and they think she did it to spite them.
But you weren't questioning them, you were picking a fight. What's going on, Alex?
Talk to the neighbours, check for reports of domestics. I want to know what they've been doing the past 3 days, both of them. Tony, I need your input.
Yeah, but you don't want it.
Tony! Please.
Send me the files.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it there. So obviously the first clip of this is, I'm going to just name it as coming out of the house scene, or talking in the street scene. So the way I've, if you're not 100% sure already, the way I've identified that that's my first scene is we've got a change in location here. So as you can see, we're now inside an actual property. So I'm just going to let the video play now for the next 3 minutes, and just what I want you to do as well is to go through with me on the clip and just make a bullet point of all the different scenes that you recognise, and then we'll see if we match up with what I've got.
Designer knife blades, crude, possibly homemade, red paint under fingernails. The tattoo, what is that? That's a telly. Hymen intact. You're a virgin. You weren't screwing around, despite what your stepmother said. In the name of Jesus. Was that to mock him or to honour him? A death from blood loss. No sign of ligatures or restraints. So you volunteered for this? You submitted to this? I mean, you were angry, but you weren't suicidal.
Ben, I told you to clear up those toys before I break my neck. Karen, hi, it's Alex Fielding from number 31. Yeah, listen, I know it's short notice, but I was wondering if you could do me a favour and babysit Ben tonight.
Sorry, your phone's been,
Oh, no worries. Thanks,
Alex, there's something ritualistic about...
Babysitter's gone AWOL. I've got an ACC meeting in 15 minutes.
What happened to the nanny?
Are you busy tonight?
Me?
So, you ladies still here? Where are we supposed to go?
What happened to Danny? I thought he did all the talking. He disappeared. So much for leadership, huh? Okay, you don't have to go. I mean, you can't stay here. It's just not safe. I mean, have you seen this? This big damp patch?
Have a closer look.
If I was you, I'd leave where I can still walk.
You need a bigger bowl.
Don't you buy this stuff in bags?
Yeah, but that's no fun.
You got this? You got... Oh, my turn. Got it. So, what happened to the nanny?
It was my fault. I called her Mummy. By accident. Mum and her had a row and she left.
Well, that doesn't sound like your fault.
Do you have any kids?
No, you need a girlfriend for that. And I tend to freak them out.
Mum's always home late. She's always angry and she's always tired. Have you ever tried maple syrup on this?
So I've got 5 different scenes in the clip. Some of you might have 6. So my 5 is we've got coming out of the house scene. So that's this one on the screen now. The number 2 I've got inside the house of the female detective. So if I scroll ahead, we'll just see here. That was inside the house of the male detective. So Robson Green's character. Number 3 I then have got inside of the female detective's house. So when she's on the phone. Number 4 is the drugs den. Well, I've called it the drugs den. I assume it's the drugs den. Number 5 is back in the female detective's house where he's got a lot of popcorn flying all over the place. Those of you who've got a 6th, you may consider this bit here when they're kind of in the living room to be the 6th, which is perfectly fine. I've got it as, we're back in the female detective's house. Right, okay, so now that you've got your 5 or 6 scenes, depending on how you're looking at it, you want to break each of these down now as your mini paragraphs. So if I've got 5 paragraphs there, well, I know that when I go back and watch this clip, I should be making notes on camera, sound, editing, and then mise en scène. So now, the way I would then go about dissecting this scene now is, I'll show you my paper in just a second. So if I get my piece of paper, so I'm going to look at number 1. So number 1 is coming out of house scene. Now I'm going to do this as I suppose I'll do it as a bullet, as a spider diagram really. Scene 1. So I'm just going to do it as just simple like that. Scene 1. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch that bit, and I'm then going to dissect it with all 4 of the microelements. Now that doesn't mean to say that just in that bit I may find that there's not much to say about editing. I might realise that there's not actually much to say about mise en scène. So don't stress yourself if you're sitting there thinking, oh, why can't I find anything about editing? Editing is so hard. Why can't I find anything about sound? Sound is so hard. So, because what you'll find is that as you go through the entire essay, you would have had a nice balance of all 4 of the microelements. Now, microelements being camera work, sound, editing, and mise en scène. Now, as you'll realise actually when you go through gender, disability, and all those other ones, you might find actually that some of those microelements are more prominent, or they exist more within certain types of the topics. Like I know, for example, with age and representation, you might tend to look at body language, facial expression, the way people are talking to each other, in terms of costume. So you might find that actually mise en scène is more strong with representing age than, for example, if you're going with class, where you might then have camera work in editing more part of it, because you've got high angles, low angles. Then obviously you've got mise en scène in terms of costumes of the different class people. So anyway, let's look at scene 1, and we'll try and dissect that. So what I want you to do, I'm just going to branch off with camera, editing, mise en scène, and then I'm going to go ahead with sound. So as I said, I'm just going to watch it as many times as I need to watch it for me to get. I'm not even thinking. Like I said, I'm not asking for you to find out the whole essay's worth of information in this first bit. Just find what you can, okay? And then we'll see what we come up with. So yeah, again, just to show you, this is how my page is set up. So I've got camera, scene 1, camera editing, and mise en scène and sound. Right, okay, so let's play this.
You don't terminate my interviews.
You know, and you accuse me of being insensitive.
This looks lying on the snow. And they think she did it to spite them.
You were questioning them, you were picking a fight. What's going on, Alex?
Talk to the neighbours. Check for reports of domestics. I want to know what they've been doing the past 3 days, both of them. Tony, I need your input.
Yeah, but you don't want it.
Tony! Please.
Send me the files.
Now, just in that short time, I've got a couple of bits and pieces. So I didn't get much for sound. I know that there is a bit of editing in there involved in that particular scene, but the ones that stuck out to me, first of all, is tone of voice, which falls under, you could argue it's under sound, but mise en scène covers performance as well. So I'm going to go with tone of voice of the characters, the way they're talking to each other and how they were being represented. I've got facial expression, so I'll bring up my points about facial expression. And then I've got a couple of quotes of what the female character was saying and how they're being represented. Now, obviously with gender, you need to think about stereotypes. Television, there's a lady called Tessa Perkins, or Tessa Perkins, Perkins. So jot that name down, Tessa Perkins. Tessa Perkins came up with a theory with stereotypes, whereby the world of television relies on stereotypes in order to get across certain characters. It's unlike a film where we can watch a 2-hour film, and in that film a character has been developed enough for us to understand what that character's like and whether they fit in stereotypes or not. In a short TV drama, they sometimes have to show stereotypes in short form, So that's why stereotypes exist in the world of TV, film, TV dramas and television programs and movies. Because without the stereotypes, we as the audience don't have enough time to really kind of get to know these characters. So they'll use stereotypes in order for us to go, right, okay, I get it. This is that sort of character. This is that sort of person. Right, so I've also got, the first thing I'll notice, if I just turn the volume down a little bit here, is we've got camera shake. There's obviously quite a lot of camera shake here. And the camera shake initially resembles to me that there's some sort of instability. So when I see the female character coming out, taking the lead, and I've got the instability of the camera and of this camera shake here, it starts to make me think that obviously the female character is not really in control of the situation. Her mind's a little bit all over the place. The representation I'm looking at is that the woman is being represented as somebody who's not in control of herself, her emotions, also that she's kind of a little bit all over the place. Now, depending on what you believe your stereotypes to be, I think that actually that can either be argued as it is stereotypical of a woman, whereby because she's got her thoughts gathered all over the place, and we find out later on in the actual clip that she's a single mum. She's obviously quite a very a busy person, but at the same time, I could argue, and my personal beliefs are that it's going against this stereotype, because women are quite usually together and they're calm and they're collected. But whereas we see here that the camera movement doesn't resemble that level of calmness. You can also then, if we hear the exchange of what they're saying.
You don't terminate my interviews.
And you accuse me of being insensitive.
This looks lying on the snout. And they think she did it to spite them.
You were questioning them, you were picking a fight. What's going on, Alex?
So, which brings me on to they've obviously the male and female here. They're arguing about something, but clearly this female detective is being pulled up on by Robson Green's character about the woman picking up a fight with whoever's inside this house. So I'm looking at facial expression here. So obviously she's got a very concerned look on her face. Clearly she's letting something affect her emotions, because if you listen again, to the dialogue, Robson Green's character is questioning her about the way she's kind of behaving, and she's not being completely professional, which may again be a stereotype about women. But when they have things on their mind, do they kind of lose their calmness and coolness? And certainly that facial expression there will support that particular notion. If we also look then, the camera angle, so the camera movement has become quite still, and that's for us to then get be able to read the emotions of these characters, which also then brings me into, I've got an over the shoulder shot in this bit here that I've paused, over shoulder shot, and you can also call it a mid shot. I'll call that a close up actually. So I've got an over the shoulder shot with a close up. So over the shoulder of Robson Green's character, because we're now with the man, we're standing with the man, he's in power, he's in control. So again, that's probably, stereotypical. And we're now looking at her facial expression, her tone of voice, she's looking concerned. And with the close-up, we get to see that facial expression. So, again, we've got here facial expression, mise-en-scène. We've got tone of voice, mise-en-scène, close-up and over the shoulder, shaky handheld camera. So we've got quite a bit there already going off. Now, if I go back to the beginning, let's have a look if we've got anything to do with editing. So at the moment, there's been no cuts in the editing.
You accuse me of being insensitive.
There, we've got a cut there.
And they think she did it to spite them.
You were questioning
Cut there.
You were picking a fight. What's going on, Alex?
And a cut there. So we've got, in the space of about 3 or 4 seconds, we've actually got about 3 or 4 cuts. Now, those cuts will add to the whole moment of the scene, whereby obviously something's important happening. So far, she, as the woman, led the bloke out of the house, and we noticed that the camera was actually in that one shot. The moment the power shifted back to Robson Green's character, we've got these 3 or 4 different cuts that then place the camera behind Robson Green in this particular shot here. So if we just see that. Still one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot. We've got the cut, and the power now is going back to Robson Green.
What's going on, Alex?
So the camera is now with Robson Green, and then we see so this is quite important for us to see as well. When she gets questioned, what's going on, Alex? We see her facial expression turn from concerned, and now we see the camera walking, camera shaking again as well. And she walks over to two other people.
Talk to the neighbours, check for reports of domestics. I want to know what they've been doing the past 3 days, both of them.
Right, so she's now gone over to these are two other characters immediately after being questioned by Robson Green's character, and she's laid her authority back on these two other people who are obviously working below her, normal police officers or what have you. So instantly we see from her tone of voice and her performance and body language, and also the fact that the camera tracks with her to show her importance, we see her kind of get her authority back again. So at this moment in time, in this first bit, I'm not worried the fact that I haven't got anything about sound. Editing, yeah, we mentioned 3 or 4 cuts very quickly where it goes back to Robson Green's character having the power. But my main things in this first bit is tone of voice, facial expressions, and what's being said to each other, particularly the over-the-shoulder shot and the close-up to show her facial expressions. So let's just watch this next bit for scene 1.
Tony, I need your input.
Yeah, but you don't want it.
Tony!
Right. So as the bloke, he's kind of going off, sulking off. But I would make a note of her saying, "I need your input." So as the woman, she's obviously needing the man. So again, that's a stereotype. Some may argue against it, and some may argue for it, saying, "Well, that is a stereotype. The woman needs the man." Again, that's for you to analyse and discuss within your essay. That's what, you need to put in your own inputs within this essay. So if you say the fact that the character says, "I need your input," it shows a greater detail of analysis within the clip. So let's just continue the clip.
Xyloid blades crude, possibly homemade. Red paint under fingernails. The tattoo. What is that? That's a telly. Hymen intact. You're a virgin. You weren't screwing around, despite what your stepmother said. In the name of Jesus. Was that to mock him or to honour him? A death from blood loss. No sign of ligatures or restraints. So you volunteered for this. You submitted to this. I mean, you were angry, but you weren't suicidal.
Right, okay, guys. So just going to have a quick look at scene 2 again properly. So remember, I said we've got the sound bridge music that has started from the previous scene, which connects us to what is happening in this second scene, which obviously is later on in the day. A passage of time has gone by, but the sound bridge allows us to connect with what was said, what he said last, which was send the files over, and now we see a sequence. It's almost like a montage of his particular evening. So if we have a look at it, to make a notes again, camera work, editing, and all sorts.
Xyloid blades crude, possibly homemade. Red paint under fingernails. The tattoo. What is that? That's a telly. Hymen intact. You're a virgin. You weren't screwing around, despite what your stepmother said. In the name of Jesus. Was that to mock him or to honour him? A death from blood loss. No sign of ligatures or restraints. So you volunteered for this. You submitted to this. I mean, you were angry, but you weren't suicidal.
We've got a little bit more here, particularly of editing. So remember what I said in scene 1, we didn't have much for editing and sound. Now I've actually got quite a bit more on editing and sound. And I've still got a fair bit on camera and again on mise en scène. So if we watch the clip again, I'll just talk over the bits that I've come up with. Put the volume down. So we see in this entire bit, a lot of close-ups. We see his facial expression. The camera is moving. We see points of view of what he's looking at. We see there's a lot of jump cuts here. Now, jump cuts are, if I go back and explain your jump cuts a little bit, is where we have 1 minute he's looking at this, next minute he's standing up and he's looking at this. Then he's sitting down, he's looking at this, and so the jump cut. The idea of the jump cut is to create a sense of urgency and a faster pace of a particular moment that's happening. The fact that we're in his house. So rather than us being shown the entire 4 or 5 hours of his evening, and he's getting to know all the clues, the jump cut allows that sense of urgency and for us to see that he's quickly solving the crime. The other thing also is, you've got a lot of close-ups. So we've got close-up there that I paused it on. We also have, a couple of mid-shots. We have him pacing around. So we do see, just here, for example, camera movement. So camera movement, again, is suggesting to us something that's a little bit tense and we're a little bit not unsure of what's going on. We see a point of view of the character. Again, it's showing that the male character, because what you need to think of is, at the moment, we've got a male character. What's the representation? What are the stereotypes? So I've lost myself there a little bit. I need to go back to what the question is saying. Gender, representation. Male, what's the stereotype? Men are strong, men are powerful, men are confident, men are able. In this scene, does he look like all of those things? To me, yes, he does. The jump cut, coupled with what he's saying, he's figuring out the clues. Look at me, I'm all cool, I'm looking at this clue, I'm looking at that clue. And he's figuring it out. He's questioning himself, he's questioning what's happening. The music, if you listen to it carefully, there's a slight undertone of quite a tense piece of music. So again, that will help create this whole sort of aura of, the mysterious guy. Look at, his costume, he's wearing black. So again, it adds to all of that. His facial expressions, sometimes he's looking quite stern and confident. He's looking confident. Again, sticking with the stereotypes, how is he being represented? Like I said, with the camera work, there is a lot of close-up to see his facial expressions, but we see that sort of typical masculine sort of facial expressions that he's making when he's trying to work things out. So just to sum up that second bit, we've got jump cut, we've got, and then that shows that sense of urgency. So if you find that in a particular clip, a male, there is no jump cut, but if there is, for example, continuity editing, whereby, not continuity editing, shot duration. So in this particular bit, each shot, so as it goes from one angle to another angle, that's called a shot. Now, each of these shots are quite short in length. So the music, tense, mysterious, it's quite masculine music. It's not like a romantic piano music. He's wearing black, the mise-en-scène of, facial expressions, all of those sorts of things. Pick him out. How is he being a stereotypical bloke here? Give me the folders. Give me the files. Yeah, go on, give them to me. I'll work it out because I'm the bloke. I know. I know what's going on. So we see that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it when we get to after scene 3, because scene 3 is quite an important one to look at, because we see this sort of fast cut with him. He's in control of the entire scenario. There's no family. He's a typical bloke. He's single. He's got no kids. He's got no disruptions. Whereas when we go forward to Alex, the female character, we see something completely opposite.
Ben, I told you to clear up those toys before I break my neck. Karen, hi, it's Alex Fielding from number 31. Yeah, listen, I know it's short notice, but I was wondering if you could do me a favour and babysit Ben tonight.
Sorry, your phone's been...
Oh, no worries. Thanks,
Alex, there's something ritualistic about it.
Babysitter's going AWOL. I've got an ACC meeting in 15 minutes.
What happened to the nanny?
Are you busy tonight?
Me?
Ben, I told you to clean this up. And she's telling him what to do. She's trying to find a babysitter. So again, are all of those things typical of a single woman's life? The fact that she's trying to find a babysitter last minute, she can't find anyone. If we see from the beginning, I know I'm not making notes, but I'll just explain it so you guys get the gist of what you need to be looking out for. She's coming down, so we see the camera, no editing at the moment. The camera's just following her. There's a lot of camera shakes. Again, it's maybe representing her dilemma in that she's not able to find a babysitter on time.
Listen, I know it's short notice, but I was wondering if you could do me a favour and babysit Ben.
Can you see her whole demeanour? She's not in control of that situation. She's looking through her bag, trying to find something. She's coming down, Ben, pick this up. She's a mother. She's telling the kid to do something. She's on the phone trying to find a babysitter. There's obviously a very distinct lack of organisation on her part, which is completely against the stereotypes of of a woman. And women are normally organised. But here we've got a single mum because we're not seeing a father at the moment, and she's a little bit all over the place. So again, what are the representations? How is that being shown? Body language, facial expression, the way she's talking quite quick. We've actually have not got much editing in here at all whatsoever because the camera's still following her. We come and see Robson Green come in.
Sorry, your phone's been...
Oh, no worries. Thanks,
There's something ritualistic about it.
the user scolding wall. We've got an ECC meeting in 15 minutes.
What happened to the nanny?
Are you busy tonight?
Me?
I'm gonna stop the analysis there because I want you guys to have a go at doing scene 3, 4, and 5. What you need to be looking at is break it all down. Do this sort of this idea of the spider diagram, but look at what is it stereotypical. This bit that's coming up now with these drugs den people. Are they being stereotypical lads, blokes, evil guys? You know, the fact that there's violence and they're being all cocky and arrogant with each other and whatnot. And then as we go and see later on in this bit here, he's being a typical bloke, not in control of the entire situation. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know how to look after a kid. You know, popcorn all over the place. We get the fast-paced editing. We've got the sound of the popcorn going all over the place. A lot of noise in the background. So again, it's that stereotypical of a bloke who's not able to look after a kid. So look at all of these sorts of things in the remaining, scene 4 and 5. Now, my last thing to say, write in chronological order. So start with the, scene 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So scene 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 were coming out the house, inside the house of the male detective, inside the female detective's house when she's looking for a babysitter, the drugs den, and then we've got back in the female detective's house when Robson Green is unable to look after the child and things are a little bit all over the place. So have a go at the essay. As you start each paragraph, say, as we go into the next scene, which is, and then you go through all the examples. Remember, stereotypes, how they're conforming to it, how they're sticking to them, how they're going against them. You can even talk a little bit about, stereotypes, Tessa Perkins, that sort of stuff. But just go with, what do you expect of a woman and a man, and how are they showing to stereotypical women and stereotypical men? You know this stuff, it's common sense. Watch the clip, make your notes, write the essay, and send it across as and when you're ready, guys.